This sleepy town woke late Sunday night to the crashing of wind and heavy rain.
We had no warning is one thing, the town siren didn't go off and we weren't expecting this at all.
Around 11, winds of about 80 miles per hour whipped through Radcliffe. But as quick as the wind came in, it was gone and the storm was over.
It was a loud rushing wind and we heard that the rain just batter against the house.
What was left? Trees down in streets, yards, on vehicles, some narrowly missing houses, other homes not as lucky.
It was kind of scary. Yeah, I've never seen anything like this in the 38 years that I've lived here.
Our Savior's Lutheran Church didn't escape unscathed. The roof torn off towards the back of the church, leaving a gaping hole. And the wind sent debris from the church across the street into a neighbor's yard. And take a look at this. Plywood lodged in between the tire and its rim.
Looks like it came through here a little bit.
We were there as the pastor walked through his church.
Yeah, we got windows blown out up there.
For the first time since the storm. The fellowship hall in the basement, filled with a piano and tables, now sitting in 2 to 3 inches of water. They haven't started calculating the cost of the damages, but they are counting their blessings.
That's the worst thing that got damaged. We're a blessed and lucky society.
This church has been around for 122 years. This structure itself since the 1950s. But one thing the pastor told us, he says it's a blessing that no one was hurt. In Radcliffe, Alex Sachs, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
27-year-old Chad Bryant was visibly upset Thursday afternoon, threatening our KCCI crew as we tried to get video of his LeGrand home.
I'm Bob. Take that off my face, please.
Well, no. Whoa, no. You don't touch my camera.
Well, I don't want you on my face.
No, you don't touch my camera.
Well,
Bryant continued covering our camera lens and then poured water over photojournalist Bob Thomas's head.
Hey! Call the sheriff's department. He just assaulted me.
Minutes later, 2 suspects who were arrested earlier this week on drug charges fled the scene in a white sedan.
Bryant walked back inside the front door of his home here, and within about 5 minutes, we saw him take off on foot heading south behind these homes. And that's what started the manhunt.
Camry may have came around and picked him up.
With guns drawn, Marshall County Sheriff's deputies along with Marshalltown police surrounded the neighborhood, using our KCCI SUV as a shield, while dozens of neighbors watched it all unfold.
This is nuts. This is a quiet neighborhood. There's a lot of children that live here. A lot of children that live here. This is very scary for all of us.
The manhunt put nearby East Marshall High School on lockdown for several hours. Officials made entry into Bryant's home, finding no one inside.
This is the Walter Farm, by far the hardest hit of the 4 properties that were affected by this tornado. There are vehicles all over their property. Here's a 4-wheeler that was tossed like it was nothing. And this is the small stuff.
Don't tell the Walter family. It was just an EF1 tornado.
Even a mile and a half away, this thing just sounded like a train.
From his nearby farm, Bob Walter watched the tornado bear down on his mother's home and the farm he grew up on.
And I just saw all this disappear in a matter of about 10 seconds. I could see, buildings just, going, a half mile up in the air.
Bob got there quickly. He saw every corner of the family property was hit. 4 concrete silos gone, 2 more damaged, along with several outbuildings. The tornado picked up large trucks, small trucks, a grain cart, a tractor. Then there was the combine.
We're talking probably a 40,000-pound combine that picked it up and moved it 200 yards.
But Bob's first concern was the house. He knew his mother and 4 of his 5 children were among the 9 people taking shelter in the basement.
I was like, oh, it's not gonna come hit me, and yeah, it did.
It just didn't look real. Didn't look real at all. It looked fake.
Oldest son Tom Walter watched the twister come toward him for several minutes, then shot this incredible video as it bore down on the family farm just before he ran downstairs.
I was standing there and I thought, well, that'll just go around us, but it sucks, to walk out the door and see everything you worked for gone.
Dozens of family and friends showed up to help. The big stuff was easy to find. The fields are hiding a lot more.
Again, thankfully, no one injured, not even livestock. Just a few weeks ago, there were 600 head of cattle in this feedlot here at the Walter Farm. They've since been moved, thankfully. In Adams County, Mark Tauschek, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Monday's river became Tuesday's lake. Every display in jolly holiday lights now surrounded.
Unfortunately, it's went a lot higher than we thought it was going to get.
Damage to the exhibit that draws tens of thousands each year will be determined after the water recedes. Some already obvious.
We're going inside the Santa's Wish Shop. Check out the damage or hopefully lack of. Oh my. This here is Santa's chair that Santa sits in.
Many items were put on tables.
These are the controllers that run all the displays. Up off the ground, thinking that Santa's Wish Shop here would not gain any water, and then unfortunately it did. And all of our Christmas trees here all have wooden bases down below those, so those are all going to need to be replaced. This is Santa's suit, and it's been underwater for a while.
Outside Santa's Wish Shop, a giant generator donated by 3E Electric sitting on a trailer. Workers couldn't move it before the water arrived because the pickup truck kept getting stuck in the mud.
Not good.
With the Make-A-Wish fundraiser shut down 3 weeks early, the effort to help the nonprofit make up a $200,000 loss has exploded one way under the social media hashtag #BringTheJolly. A lot of water apparently not dampening the giving spirit.
And to all a good night.
Let us make a joyful noise to the Lord with songs of praise.
Thy rod, thy staff to comfort me.
Thy rod, thy staff to comfort me.
It is your goodness and not ours that secures the blessings of our lives. Celebrate the bounty of this good earth, that there is food enough and more for every person on this day, and that we are all fed and bountifully so.
In this, my 21st year as governor, I'm very honored and pleased to, for the 20th time, personally present the Thanksgiving proclamation.
The best is yet to come. God is still working in us and through us, we pray, around us and in spite of us, if need be.
You can put more stuff on them, Kathy. You don't have to be quite so frugal.
When it comes to food prep, Lisa Vetterlein could put a lunch lady to shame.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for tonight.
The first step in what has become a weekly ritual.
We just go around and say, hey, have you had dinner tonight?
He's going to be going down to the homeless camps.
Oh, you want him to have all the water?
Yeah,
right?
I want him to have the water so he can do that.
Lisa's one of about a dozen bicyclists who meet every Thursday night at the Price Chopper on Ingersoll.
Fairly simple recipe burrito.
Loaded down with offerings.
Homemade oatmeal chocolate chip cookies.
Even bug spray.
Last week they actually had the biggest smiles on their faces when we started handing them out.
Joe Laszlo started what he calls the Urban Bike Food Ministry in March with a simple task.
Just go up to them and ask them that question is, have you had supper tonight? Here we go.
One group heads to the homeless camps, another to the Oak Ridge neighborhood.
You guys had supper tonight?
I have some food to offer if you'd like. We have sandwiches and burritos and cookies.
There's no shortage of willing recipients. Some are more excited about the food than anyone their age should have to be in 2015.
There you go. How about a water?
It's beautiful to see such a simple gesture so graciously received.
It just feels good to be able to provide something that somebody else needs. You know, that's all.
It's only about 7 or 8 miles, but it's the best bike ride that I go on during the week.
Hopping off a bus is no big deal to 5th and 6th graders. But for kindergartners, it's bigger than their backpacks.
Okay, let's go. I was nervous.
Which is why Thomas's siblings sat him down before the first day.
I said that it's fun and stuff and you get naps. So.
Okay, all right, hug and kiss, bye. And I gotta go, okay? Hug, kiss. You'll love Mrs. Lamore. See ya.
If only they could have done the same with Mom.
This is hard. I'm actually keeping in all of my emotions right now. And I'll probably go outside and cry.
Since 2009 or 10,
You want to say bye to Mom?
these boys and girls have usually been with Mom or Dad
Love you.
I'm so glad he got you as his teacher.
Thank you.
or Grandma.
I think we are all happy that he's at this stage of his life and sad in a way, because it's going to be a very big change for all of us.
But today
How's it going?
Today is different.
Let's go find our cubbies.
Most of the kids,
Ready.
they were just fine.
Excitement. He said he had a little bit of a butterfly in his tummy this morning, but then he got on the school bus and he did it, and then I drove here to make sure he was okay. He doesn't need me.
Most of the parents
I have butterflies, but I'm excited for him.
realized today their babies aren't babies anymore.
You want to see my gym shoes?
Because 2 minutes after the last kisses and snapshots, they were cutting and coloring like pros. A few tried their best to hold it in until they remembered the one who just kissed them goodbye.
Not yet? Okay. Okay.
And Van Meter, the last tear fell before 8:30, which was time for PE.
What's PE spell?
And the time these kids proved they follow directions well.
Can you put your hands by your side? Beautiful. I love that.
10 years from now, moms and dads will be cheering them on from these stands. But today, both Bens, Ella, and Isabella got their pedometers, walked back to their carpet,
U-S-T.
and started soaking it all in.
And you're going to learn all these things in kindergarten.
It's going to be a happy day.
Eric Hansen, KCCI 8 News,
Ella, nice job. Good job, Ben.
Iowa's news leader.
Isabella, looking great. Nice job.
Okay, you got it.
All it takes
Good morning.
is 15 minutes.
Welcome to the fair this morning.
Spin the dial, pick a time, and scatter, and you'll prove a quarter hour can be cashed in at the fair in so many ways.
We're at $8. We'll give you all the pancakes you want.
Straight up 9 at the beef quarters,
It is breakfast time, yes it is.
buys a tall stack for $5,
Delicious.
Best bargain at the fair this morning.
making the down-the-block wait worth it.
Pancake breakfast.
Look at me, fat guys like to eat.
Across the street,
Time to wash pigs, I guess.
9:02's time for a pork rub. Because in FFA, to walk away with blue, there can't be a speck of poo,
Get his belly with him.
which wasn't a problem.
Are we ready with the first group? Where are you guys from?
Seconds later at Bill Riley's stage, where kids sharing both birthdays and last names
L-I-N-D-G-R-E-N.
took over in pairs and threes.
We have William and Malcolm Dix, and we're from Mount Vernon, Iowa.
By 9:05, the judges, also twins, were already deliberating.
This is who I thought should be first.
Here's the rest.
Deb over in the ag building,
There's the butter cow.
her first stop of the day was no debate.
I mean, we can't come to the fair unless we see the butter cow.
Every 15 minutes, in every corner of the grounds, traditions endure.
You had fun, didn't you?
Breakfast becomes hope,
Our church volunteers and the money goes to missions.
and a year's worth of work
Nice job, young lady.
Yeah.
makes a fair day a winner.
Yes, it is.
It's 9:13.
And as soon as one class ends, another begins.
She's not quite as heavy or structured as the guilt we've got in first.
Another family joins the line,
Thank you. Hi there.
and another winner or two earns a blue.
Look at you won.
All in 15 minutes,
We're planning to go to the concert tonight.
all at Iowa's State Fair.
Enjoy. We'll be down here until it closes tonight.
To a kid in flip-flops, waiting even a minute for the pool to open feels like 100 years.
Because it's very, very hot.
They all want to get in quick without getting busted for running. But in Osceola, lifeguards have never blown their whistle on Fern, the gal who doesn't need a bathing suit.
I told you I'm 100 years old. I don't have to do that.
to be the most popular woman at the pool.
It's wonderful to see all of you again.
You remember Nancy?
And I'm so glad you're swimming.
Everyone knows Fern.
Because this weekly swim party
Yeah, because you can see your friends here.
is thrown by the 100-year-old near the shallow end.
It's good to see you, and I'm so glad you're swimming.
A couple decades ago, in her 80s, Fern was talking with kids from Osceola's trailer court.
They revealed what their home life was, and in some cases it was very sad.
Some weren't eating. Plenty more were struggling in school.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if?
Which is when Fern went to work.
I'm here for a reason, and I better fulfill it.
She started co-writing books with third graders and making little friends citywide.
She gave each kid a pencil that says Fern is my friend because she heard some kids say that they didn't have friends.
I'm so proud because she helped my son in school.
And then she hatched the idea that packs the pool all summer long.
If they want to swim, they should swim.
Regardless of how much their parents make.
Very early on, these little kids find out whether they're in the haves or the have-nots.
Every Monday on Fern Underwood Free Swim Night, Osceola's kids are all in the haves.
What are you doing? Do you remember me?
Well, remember you, good heavens, how could I forget?
Because they all have a friend.
It's so good to see all of you.
Who made this possible.
Thanks for the free pool. She's super cool and super nice. Oh, well, I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't tear up.
The magic here isn't in the water.
Does it make you feel young to be around kids?
It's the 100-year-old sitting a few feet from the water, listening.
The lady I was just talking to with two little kids makes $7 an hour.
Why are we doing this?
Doing this so every kid can be a kid.
We don't do enough. So you and I aren't through yet.
No, that's right.
In a state with 6 times more pigs than people, it was bound to happen.
These two ladies stopped in and they had this pig that fell out of a truck.
A semi on the 4-lane south of Fort Dodge.
I think you'd be surprised.
Veterinarian Jim Illig figures she was no more than 15 pounds when the folks following behind that big rig brought her in last fall.
The distance between the boards and the truck are too much. It can happen.
We didn't really expect her to make it, being she fell off a semi going top speed.
The piglet was hurting.
She had road rash head to toe. Her front foot was split in half.
So when the vet called Kim Fevold, who admits she's so crazy about animals,
I'm kind of the weird duck anyway.
she refers to herself as one, she couldn't say no. That day, her rescue horses, donkeys, and dogs got a sister.
You know, this little pig needed help, and if I didn't take her, someone would eat her.
To save her from a date with a fork.
There was a lot of people that wanted her to eat her, you know, because it's a free pig.
9 months later, Highway, that's her name, is 300 pounds of personality. Most of the day, the free-range porker patrols the farm with her buddy Bane. But when her appetite flares, stand back.
She's a bit of a diva pig.
Because at mealtime, she won't touch pig food.
Keep in mind, we tell her that she's a dog.
Her honest-to-goodness favorite?
Bacon strips.
Let that sink in.
She is eating bacon, but she's a dog. Remember, she thinks she's a dog.
A 300-pound eating machine who's so convinced she's a pup,
Here, okay, come on, this way.
she joins the rest of the dogs on their walks.
She's a funny pig.
Highway earned her name slipping out that crack in the unluckiest of falls.
Yeah, well, really though, but it was probably the luckiest.
Because the rest of the truckload's been at the butcher shop for months.
Roll over.
While she's enjoying the perfect pork rub.
No balls and 2 strikes.
Harlan and Dubuque Wahlert played a state tournament game this afternoon.
Sunny at southeast poke, wind blowing out toward left field.
but it was missing a big piece of the tournament experience.
We were a little disappointed, but they could still end up playing up there.
For the first time in the 11 years the state baseball tournament has been played in Des Moines, not all the games were at Principal Park.
It was really a hard decision. You know, we want students to have the state experience at Principal Park.
Rain wrecked the schedule, so last night state high school officials tried to figure out if they could fit 6 games and a 7th that had been suspended into one day.
And our rough numbers, it was going to take us somewhere between 16 and 18 hours to do that.
The 2 Class 3A games were moved to Southeast Polk that has an artificial turf field, a new experience for almost all the players.
Your feet get caught if you don't pick them up. So I did that a couple times. I was walking, I stuck my toe down. I was like, ooh.
The change of venue had one unfortunate consequence. Before the first game, the first baseman for Dallas Center Grimes broke his leg sliding into a base. The head coach had sent his whole team out to practice sliding to get used to this new surface.
We were just going to practice a couple slides, and now, you know, nobody feels worse about it than I do.
Dallas Center Grimes and Dubuque Wallert's road to Principal Park stopped at Southeast Polk. Pella and Harlan finally got there.
You know, you always want to get out there and play, and it kind of stinks if you don't get to, but we'll take this. I guess we qualified for state twice, right?
Hey, you barely made it.
Awesome.
But you got to keep your feet together the whole time, right?
Go over the rules for today. 3 here and then 2 up here for your team, and then the blue is the other opposite way.
That ball right there.
On behalf of all the kids that we take care of, thank you for being here today.
Youth Emergency Services and Shelter. We take care of kids birth through 17. Go! This is a legit human foosball tournament. Literally playing human foosball.
Hands must remain on the pole at all times. Players must face the correct direction at all times.
Damn. It's got to be the pole. Can't be doing that.
Today we've got 48 kids in the shelter. Throughout the course of a year, we see about 1,000 children that live with us.
Woo! Come on, come on!
We see so many kids who've been abused, abandoned, neglected, or who are runaways. We see so many kids that are victims of incredible abuse. So I would say it's pretty important. I want to use the resources from this event to support the children. So it is a lot of fun because so many of these folks are very serious during the week and very intense business professionals. Well, now they're playing human foosball on a Friday afternoon. So it's awesome to watch them have that fun.
That's definitely a blast.
You gotta be bold to streak through a state park in broad daylight. The guy attached to these bare legs,
I'm a streaker and proud of it,
has had plenty of practice. Before you blush, John Liepa is not that kind of streaker. His streak is even more jaw-dropping. In the mid-70s, he started running a mile every day, unless a party got in the way.
After a very enjoyable New Year's Eve party on January 1st of 1977, that was the last day I missed a run.
77. That's when his current streak started. He was 31.
I think I just woke up the next day and said, I need my run.
Just like he did the day his kids were born and when they graduated, and every day since, whatever happened.
You've got to have a little bit of grit, and perseverance to keep this thing going.
Even when he probably shouldn't have.
But I actually ran, my mile on the 5th floor of a hospital room with permission of the staff. And so
2 years ago, his streak almost ended. Internal bleeding will do that, unless you're John in a gown on a floor that loops.
I put my Nikes on and I counted exactly how many steps it was. There were hardly any patients on the floor, and they all got a chuckle out of it, and I got my mile out.
Add up all the 40 below mornings and 110 degree afternoons, and this Saturday will be the 14,000th consecutive day John's run at least a mile. 38 and a half years. Only 13 Americans have a longer streak going.
It's not an obsession if it's healthy and if it makes you feel good.
He's run into a deer in the fog here at Lake Aquabi and been chased by a Minnesota bear.
And I turned around and probably ran the fastest mile I've ever ran in my life.
But he's always come back, even though miles are slower since Carter left office.
I'm not the bionic man, but I feel good for having just turned 70.
making Iowa's fully clothed streaker determined to keep going.
They've got to work it in somehow.
Four-year Gouda Gruyere, Asiago Stravecchio.
200 varieties of cheese for sale at Gateway Market.
All different kinds just to please kind of any appetite that comes for it. Spring Gouda, Cuore del Piave, Cascadica de Bufala. Cascadica de Bufala is my favorite.
Others.
Parmesan, everybody is familiar with, of course, but ours is aged 2 years.
A new University of Michigan study says they're all addicting because of the way they're processed.
That's our Friday night snack is cheese and fruit.
And we really like wine and cheese.
Cheese is addicting because of a protein called casein.
It takes so much milk to get just a little bit of cheese, so it's concentrated. Most of the water comes out and you're left with a lot of that protein.
Not convinced yet?
I don't find it addicting at all. I mean, I enjoy it, but I could go 2 or 3 weeks without eating it. I don't think I'd have withdrawal symptoms.
Perhaps it's because cheese is so versatile.
Any other food that you enjoy eating, cheese is going to go well with that too.
It's very satisfying. If that's, I don't know what that means. If that's a good feeling, to be not eat so much and still be satisfied.
Whether it's fresh pulled mozzarella or the classic cheddar that tickles your taste buds, Kennebec tells all of her customers,
rumor has it that cheese releases endorphins.
So you might want to get another piece. Stephanie Nolte, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Are you all ready for Minneapolis Comic-Con?
Wizard World Comic-Con.
I can't hear you!
Where the terms geek and nerd are not crass criticisms.
I enjoy being a nerd.
They are actual terms of endearment.
I feel complimented when my friends call me a nerd.
Because at this roving festival of pop culture fandom, to nerd out over something or to be a total geek about a subculture movie or TV character,
they are not bad words,
is very, very cool.
Really, all of us are in one way or another.
The world doesn't need a savior.
Given the name, you'd think this whole thing is about comics, and it was, up until a few years ago.
We've added elements of pop culture in movies and television, gaming, all kinds of things that people enjoy that are outside of just the straight comics realm.
I am your father. I'll be back.
More and more movie and TV involvement has led to more and more attention from the mainstream media.
Here at Wizard World, we like to have good, clean fun.
And that attention has made more and more people interested in the modern, multi-genre Comic-Con.
It's kind of hard to believe that Comic-Con started in 1998 with one show in Chicago. This year, there will be 27 all across the country, and Des Moines is one of 10 new cities.
Like the convention center this month in Minneapolis, the 3-day Des Moines Comic-Con in June will take up about 140,000 square feet of space in the Iowa Event Center.
Some people cover it in a day, some people cover it in 3 days. They basically don't leave, they're there for the weekend.
For the most part, what you'll see is table after table of vendors, selling everything from comic books and t-shirts to action figures, do-it-yourself Hollywood quality makeup, collectibles of every kind, and lots of original art.
Come to the show, come have fun, come enjoy every part of what we do.
There are also all kinds of somewhat pricey celebrity panels, autograph opportunities, and meet and greets.
Our mantra here is take care of the fan. Take care of the fan and take care of the fan.
Comic-Con has a fanatical fan base.
I love it. It's really cool. This is something I'd like to do as a family event.
Best characterized by those who do cosplay, short for costume players.
It's fun. I like dressing up in costume and looking at the smiles on kids' faces when they walk by.
Ordinary, everyday people.
Actually, I'm a crane operator, so, yep.
Who show absolutely no embarrassment and sometimes spare no expense to look and act like their favorite fictional characters.
They feel like they know these people, and in a lot of ways they do.
Wolverine is the best at what he does, bub. And what he does isn't very nice.
There you have it.
What do you want to see?
Batman.
So in just a little more than a month, dutiful dweebs of all ages will descend on Des Moines, where they can nerd it up and get their geek on at Central Iowa's very own Comic-Con.